Hi everybody, it's Thursday, it's National Poetry Day. We've celebrated in the quad at lunchtime, and the winner of the Key Stage 3 competition was Rosa. Well done, Rosa, with a lovely poem, which unfortunately I cannot read to you, but perhaps I will at a later date. So everybody's going to share a poem with us, and then we're hopefully, if we've got time, going to do some new poetry making in a way that we've done before. If you've been coming to us for a while, it'll be the blackout poetry. And we've still got from last year, if you remember, everybody, our lovely collages. Do you remember?
Are they still up?
Yeah, they're still up.
It's up
yeah,
there
one's
on
in
the
MBH and one's here. So lots of fun. Also, I wanted to just direct our regulars to the Pupil Librarian newsletter, where there are lots of interesting things for you to look at and to do with books and puzzles, and don't judge a book by its cover, read the blurb instead, is basically, and a beautiful, that's beautiful. Yeah, lovely. Well done, pupil librarians. So have a look at that when you're next sort of browsing for things to do. Right, so we're going to start off with people reading their poems, and I'm going to begin. I've written mine, and it's called Counting Up, or an exploration of numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 is one and all alone. Poor one. 2. 2 makes a pair of shoes, trousers, twins, hands, we two. 3. 3 makes a rule of 3, a tricolon, good, better, best. 3 is a crowd. 4. 4 is 2 pairs, 4 quarters, an even number made for sharing. 5. 5 is an odd number, half of 10, a pass mark, a horizontal, a vertical, and a bulge. Very odd. 6. 6 is 2 plus 2 plus 2, or 2 threes, or 5 plus 1, 6 eggs, or half a dozen. Picture an egg box with 2 rows of 3. 7. 7 is 3 plus 4. The 7 sisters' cliffs in Sussex, the 7 stars of the Pleiades, the 7 days of the week, the magical number. 8. 8 is like the infinity symbol, except it is 2 4s. It looks like a weeble, if you remember what that was. Probably not, but they wobbled. 9. 9 is 3 times 3, the 9 riders of the Lord of the Rings. The ring race, defeated by the Fellowship, the 9 walkers. 8 survived, but none unchanged. 10. 5 plus 5, the epitome, the apotheosis. 10 out of 10, the perfect score. Torval and Dean, our aim. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Allen, have you got to go early?
No, but I'm
Do you want to go
happy
next?
To share. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gone strong.
So, I was teaching a lesson downstairs, and Mr. Humphreys approached me and went, "Would you like to come to National Poetry Day today?" And I went, "Yes, I would actually." And he was like, "Do you have a poem?" And I said, "No, I don't." And he said, "Well, you've got 3 minutes to write one."
That's not
And I went, "Okay." I gave myself 3 minutes to write it, so I do apologise. This is written in 3 minutes, so apologies for that.
You anyway.
1 is often given a choice. 2, make the right decision in life. 3, them should be a given right, and not 4, it to be stripped away. Before we discuss Mrs. Roosevelt, feel free to share your thoughts. Too often our children are silenced. One voice does not speak for all. So remember, 1 can be singular or collective. 2 can be the right choice, too often overlooked. 3 can be a state we choose or promote, for freedom is 2 sides to 1 story for all.
That's very impressive for 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right, Annabelle.
So I'm going to be talking about Holly McNish, and I'm going to read one of her poems and then talk about her book of poems. So, a British national breakfast. They start the day with a small glass of orange juice, bought at Sainsbury's, South African produce. Mugs emblazoned with our German bred queen. They sip English breakfast tea, forgetting those are Indian leaves. 1.5 teaspoons of sugar grain, bought to Asda, Brazilian cane. Husband fries eggs, wife waiters wisteria, cooking oil from Italy, heating oil, Nigeria. They swallow 2 pills each to help their bowels and digestion, invented by a research team in the US and India. Newspapers thrift through, headlines read, more crime, more violence, less hospital beds. She complains to her husband, he complains to his wife. They complain it must be those foreigners ruining their life. Voting polls are open, Farage is ticked, pen bought from Staples, Iranian ink. Driving on the roads led by Irish Jamaicans, she sprays on her perfume, an Arab invention. Complaining about foreigners joining their country, forgetting the source of their dear British money. Desperate for someone to blame for her boredom, she waters the pansies, fertilizer from Jordan. Desperate for someone to blame for his misery, they complain that foreigners have ruined their country. Afternoon nap TV, both sigh. Made in Sri Lanka, sold from Shanghai. Mumbling that Polish have to run their country, they watch A Place in the Sun, repeated from Sunday. Shop down at Asda because food there is cheaper. They complain more British jobs for more British people. Buy a bargain deal, clothes from low wages abroad, claiming the price of low produce is robbery, fraud. A bouquet of flowers to gift a sick neighbour, imagined in Egypt, imported from Kenya. They pick up a pizza on the short journey home, complain British culture is being pushed to death row. Home on the couch, watch TV all night, complaining that foreigners have ruined their life. They finish a day with a hot cup of cocoa, beans grown in Ghana, profits to Tesco. Complaining in bed about closing our borders. They don't learn Spanish, retire to New York.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So that's like, I like how she makes it funny, but also puts in like a good political or like a good meaning to it, with like a good thing like that. And then this is her book, Lobster, and I asked my mum like, oh, do you have any poetry books in the house? And then she was like, I have this one. I bought it like recently and I really enjoyed it. And I really like the style of her writing. It's really big and it's got so many poems in it. And it's just, it's like she makes really small things really funny. And I really like the way she writes.
Yeah, that poem was very...
She writes really well.
Yeah.
It's not unlike our last year's poem, is it? Friar Dilston's Refugees.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's a good message, Annabelle. Well done.
And then like it starts with a poem for whoever is reading this. Some days are hard, some days friends feel far away, some days they are. Some days lovers leave, lungs lose the art of easy breathing, sleep, a skill forgot. And then it just goes on and on about like it's like advice, but then also in a funny way.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Annabelle.
Who's up next?
Got a hand there, see?
Come. Actually, I'm going to sit on the ladder.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So you can survey.
So they all lie.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
This is your domain after all. Hello.
Hi. So the poem I bought was The Soldier by Rupert Brooke.
Oh, I was reading about Rupert Brooke only yesterday, funnily enough.
Yeah. If I should die, think only this of me, that there's some corner of a foreign field that is forever England. There shall be in that rich earth a richer dust concealed, a dust whom England bore, shaped, made aware, gave once her flowers to love, her ways to roam, a body of England's breathing English air, washed by the rivers, blessed by the suns of home. And think, this heart, all evil shed away, a pulse in the eternal mind, no less, gives somewhere back the thoughts by England given, her sights and sounds, dreams happier than her day, and laughter learnt of friends, and gentleness, in hearts at peace under an English heaven.
Yeah. Why do you like it?
I like it because I like the way Rupert Brooke describes it. For example, in the first stanza, there's a corner of a foreign field that is forever England. That's where the soldiers in the wars died, and that is made theirs, because that's their graveyard without having a burial. It's kind of just a memory of them being there. I also like the style he writes in, relating it as if it's I don't know how to say it.
He's talking to us, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which you like, I think. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I
probably knew this of me.
That's another thing I really like in the first line, if I should die, and it's what he wants the world to think of him, it's a bit heartbreaking in a way.
Of course.
Because
Yeah.
it's like, if I should die, it's almost from the perspective of a soldier saying what it's like and what they want.
He was a soldier when he wrote it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some-
It's interesting. It's modal though. If he was a soldier at the time, because many accepted that death was somewhat inevitable. So the fact that if I should, there's still actually that glimmer of hope within the poem as well. Is that he's not confined to something. There's still potential for growth there. So it's not definite, which is really
There
interesting.
was like a lot of poets and writers and artists in like the trenches, and I think he wrote this one in the trench actually, and the original copy was like really roughed up. But did he make it out alive?
No. He died
No.
on his way to Turkey, where there was a terrible expeditionary force, and but he didn't even get a chance. Well, he fought in Flanders and then went on a ship and he got blood poisoning.
Oh.
So in some ways, it was a merciful death. He
Yeah.
died of a fever, but
It's almost like he survived all of it for what, to die
it
of
was
fever.
only in the first year, so he hadn't had too terrible a time, fortunately, but bad enough. So he died alongside a lot of Australian and New Zealand and Commonwealth troops who'd gone to Turkey to fight. Unfortunately, it was an expedition that was organised by Winston Churchill, and he wouldn't take no for an answer. He kept pushing this, and it never worked.
It's almost like it would have been eye-opening to see if he had written poems from after the war, of his experiences after
Wilfred
war,
Owen.
if he has like shell shock or anything.
Yeah, Wilfred Owen,
We've got
Yeah.
Wilfred Owen, and we have got Siegfried Sassoon, who did survive.
Yeah,
So, yes.
a great life lost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you, Frida. That was great. Thank you. Oh, let's have a poem to Dan.
And now you can say something.
You do poetry on war in Year 9 at the start.
There you go. Something to look forward to,
Yeah.
Frida. Right, who's next?
Lucy, do you want to come up next?
Me?
Yeah.
The nation's favourite poems.
So this might be one that
Thanks, Nina.
we've heard of.
So this is really the only poem I can remember from reading this last year. It's the first poem I read. I don't really remember much from it. I just remember the name.
Okay.
Here among long discarded cassocks, no idea what that word is, damp stools, half split open hassocks. Here where the vicar never looks, I nibble through old service books. Lean and alone I spend my days behind this Church of England's bays. I share my dark forgotten room with 2 oil lamps and half a broom. The cleaner never bothers me, so here I eat my frugal tea. My bread is sawdust mixed with straw, my jam is polish for the floor. Christmas and Easter may be feasts for congregations and for priests. And so many wits, and all the same, they do not fill my meagre frame. For the only feast at all is autumn's harvest festival, when I can satisfy my want with ears of corn around the font. I climb the eagle's brazen head to burrow through a loaf of bread. I scramble up the pulpit stair and gnaw the marrows hanging there. It is enjoyable to taste. These items they go to waste. But how annoying when one finds that other mice with pagan minds come into church my food to share, who have no proper business there, Two field mice who have no desire to be baptized invade the choir. A large and most unfriendly rat comes in to see what we are at. He says he thinks there is no God, and yet he comes. It's rather odd. This year he stole a sheaf of bread. It screened our special preacher's seat, and prosperous mice from fields away come in to hear the organ play, and under cover of its notes eat through the altar's sheaf of oats. A low church mouse who thinks that I am too papistical and high, yet how doesn't think it wrong, so munch through harvest even song. While I, who starve the whole year through, must share my food with rodents who, except at this time of year, not once inside the church appear. Within the human world I know, such goings on and could not be so. For human beings only do what their religion tells them to. They read the Bible every day, and always night and morning pray. And just like me, the good church mouse, worship each week in God's own house. But all the same, it's strange to me how very full the church can be with people I don't see at all except at Harvest Festival.
Right, Lucy, why do you like that?
Well, it's a bit funny.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Who's the poet? Just so everyone knows.
It's John
Betjeman.
Betjeman.
Are you familiar with any of his other poems?
No,
Okay. So
I
he's
don't
got,
read a lot of poems.
Ex-poet laureate.
Yeah.
It was a very controversial choice when he was appointed, because all his verse, every single bit of it rhymes, and a lot of the poetry establishment said, "Oh, he's too light verse. It's much too light. It's ridiculous." And if you go to St Pancras station, which is where Eurostar goes from, there's a big statue of him because he tried and succeeded to save our Victorian buildings, including St Pancras Hotel and St Pancras Station, and they wouldn't be there if it wasn't for him. So he was a very great man. So you like the mouse, yes?
Yeah.
You can identify with the mouse
Mhm.
with the way he sort of observes the human behaviour. That's my favourite bit. They're looking at reading their Bibles.
That's right. To Annabelle's as well, that there is a message within the humour as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. It's very funny also how it's got a semantic field of the Church of England, and that if you don't know much about the Church of England religion, then some of the words that you won't understand. A hassock is what you kneel on,
That's what we kneel on. What's a
Neither.
cassock?
and a cassock is the long garment with buttons up the middle that priests wear under their vestments, or whether they're male or female.
I don't think I pronounced some of the words right.
Don't worry.
It's okay.
Not,
That's
not
okay.
to worry at all.
Because
As long as you like it, that's the main thing.
I have seen the words before, but literally only when I've read this poem before.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there we go. So,
And
So
that
I
was
know.
Seen it before, and you like it.
yeah.
Remember.
yeah, clearly, it stayed in your brain,
Yeah.
mind there. So,
You haven't had it for a while. It's
No.
lovely.
It was
Thank you.
all right, thank you, Lucy. Thank you very much.
Who's next? Ria, you want to come next?
Do you want us to come back to you?
Come back.
We'll
to
come
us.
back to you. Who? Karis?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
tell them.
One of the pictures I want to show is on my phone.
That's fine. Yeah, we'll give you permission to share that with us.
You got a poem?
Yeah, it's on my iPad.
Mm-hmm.
Is it one you've written or one you found?
It's one that I found.
Uh-huh.
So this one's slightly different from all the others that have been read so far. It's by All on the Board, and it's about Taylor Swift in the Eras Tour.
So did they have this up on all on the board on the night of the concerts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I went to the Eras Tour, I just saw loads of people crowding around a whiteboard at the tube station, and I thought, yeah, they're probably just checking the times of the trains. And then I got closer, and I realised actually it was a Taylor Swift poem. It's got like really nice illustrations all over
They're
it.
very clever,
And
the lads
yeah,
who do it.
I only finished it earlier this week because it's very, very long.
Oh, okay. Right.
And I only also realised it was a poem earlier this week.
Right,
so-
off you go then.
Yeah. Lover, I'm ready for it. You don't need to say you need to calm down. Don't blame me for being excited now I've got the hottest ticket in town. Betty, Marjorie, Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince will be there too. Wembley Stadium will be a holy ground. Today our wildest dreams come true.
Even the man who thinks he's the smallest man who ever lived will feel tall. Singing along to folklore and evermore will feel fearless and beautiful. If it's a cruel summer of weather, we can shake it off when it starts to rain. Let's dance like we are never ever getting back together and not complain. If this was a movie for Swifties, it's a sweeter than fiction love story. We will see today was a fairy tale as sparks fly with style and glory. Everything has changed, but this love for Taylor remains the same. She's a gorgeous American girl leaving us enchanted until the end game. A mastermind with beautiful eyes making Wonderland a state of grace. With happiness, my cheers ricochet and half my heart is a blank space. Forget about champagne problems, castles crumbling or illicit affairs. Just like you, I can do it with a broken heart, knowing how much Taylor cares. Midnight in Paris or the sound of midnight rain won't be as magic as tonight. I knew you were trouble, but you belong with me, so it's all right. At 22, Mr. Perfectly Fine isn't Superman. He's fine if his reputation is stupid. Whenever he hears Taylor's version, the archer targeting him becomes Cupid. After red wine, delicate heads can begin again like it's New Year's Day. There'll be no bad blood, just a gold rush of memories that won't fade away. Who's afraid of little old me, enjoying the alchemy I know all too well? A fortnight after saying so long London, we will still be under Taylor's spell. In the tortured poets department, look what you made me do. An anti-hero in a cardigan, doing a vigilante shift, writing all poems for you. My boy only breaks his favourite toys, but Daddy, I love him so much. Occasionally I'm a willow tree out of the woods in August and out of touch. Life seems treacherous if you feel like Carla has let you down bad at stress. Listen to Taylor's lyrics instead of sending a message in a bottle with an SOS. Taylor's songs make us shine like the rise on Coney Island, and any superstar will feel like new romantics bejeweled by a lavender haze in a getaway car. Being happily haunted by beautiful ghosts isn't something people should fear. Finding out Taylor was born in 1989 was the moment I knew it was a good year. Call it what you want, but you're in love with a living legend who you adore. This poem is a gift for Taylor Swift and the Swifties to celebrate the Eras Tour.
And thank you all on the board.
So, the other thing I wanted to talk about is the All on the Board poetry book.
Oh, they published a book.
Yeah.
The same person
Yeah,
who does all of them.
it's quite new.
It's two lads.
Yeah.
Two young
so
men.
Cool. But they must have so
I'll have to get it.
many because it's not just at Wembley. They do it.
Oh yeah, they do it all over.
They
Yeah.
do it
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always a message for
Yes.
commuters and everybody who follows them as well.
Yeah, and I really like this poem because I find it so clever how the people who wrote this just managed to combine loads of Taylor Swift songs and loads of Taylor Swift albums
Yes,
into a
it's clever,
poem
isn't
and
it?
actually make it make sense. Because if I tried to do that, it would just probably be like a bunch of stuff that did not make sense at all. But yeah.
Any Swifties here? Yeah, of course. Of course. There's another question as well, by the way. Yes.
Yeah.
Frida.
Is this like mainly in train stations they do it?
It's mainly in tube stations, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like near the big stadiums. So like you were going to Wembley because that's where Taylor Swift was. The Wembley tube station, they have it like as you walk out.
And then there was another one. I don't have a picture of this easily accessible. I'd have to scroll through my phone to find it. But they changed like the you know the big board that it shows you the route of the trains.
Yes.
They changed that to be like all like the stations were different Taylor Swift songs or albums, and like each line was a different album and stuff like that.
Imagine it was your first time in London and you're like, oh, I'm looking for We Are Never Ever Ever Getting Back Together. It's on the Jubilee, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Brilliant. Thank you,
So
Paris.
perhaps we need to get that.
Yeah,
apology.
I will. I'm pretty sure it's just been published. I'll have a look.
Great.
But thank you, Karis. Thank you very much. You need to go. Do you want to read something or not? No? Okay,
Okay.
sure.
Anybody else?
Annie? Yep.
Yeah. Come and join Paddington on the big chair.
I made
I have
a
to-
poem in a tube, like.
Oh, not again. Oh, poor Paddington. I'm not sure that Miss Huntley will look after him. Okay.
What's he done to deserve being put upside down? Right, Annie, tell us about this poem.
It's like when World War II, so
Okay.
it's
What's it
it's
called?
when It's paper aeroplane.
So
So
Simon Armitage.
Simon Armitage, yeah.
yes,
And the actual name of the poem itself?
paper aeroplane.
No,
The poem that you've
poem
chosen
that
to
you've
read.
chosen, lovey.
Oh, it's
It's at the top there, look.
What's at the top?
Zoom.
Zoom. Okay.
It begins as a house and end terrace in this case, but it will not stop there. Soon it is an avenue which canvas arrogantly past the Mechanics Institute, turns left at the main road without even looking, and quickly it is a town with all four majors, clearing banks, a daily paper, and a football team pushing for promotions. On it goes, oblivious to the planning acts, the green belts, and before we know it, it is out of our hands, city, nation, hemisphere, universe, hammering out in all directions until suddenly, mercifully, it is drawn aside through the eyes of a black hole and blittered into neighbouring galaxies, emerging, smaller and smoother, than a billiard board, but weighing more than Saturn. People stop me in the street, badger me in the checkout queue, and ask, "What is this? This is so small and so very smooth. But whose mass is greater than the ringed planet?" It's just words, I assure them, but they will not have it. And it's from, I don't know how to say it.
Xanadu. From Xanadu.
Xanadu.
You know what Xanadu? Have you heard of anyone know what Xanadu is?
I've heard it in Kubla Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Xanadu.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a real place.
I had it in a comprehension I had to do in the poem.
Where is Xanadu? Because I've
It's in
heard
China. It's in China. Kubla Khan was
my preparation exams.
a Chinese emperor.
Yeah. We had there's a poem about that, isn't there?
Yeah.
There is.
Very long one. 2 pages.
No,
Wow.
it's quite a short one.
That's,
Because he was interrupted by the person from Porlock.
Oh, I think.
You look very confused by that information there.
Seemed quite long because in my old school I had to remember.
It's longer than just one side, but it's not very long. It's a sort of dream poem, and he sort of it doesn't go anywhere because literally Coleridge used to say, I got interrupted by a knock on the door from a person from Porlock. We don't know who this person was.
In my old school, you had to memorise poems every term, and I would just walk around the house saying that, so my parents are kind of sick if they ever hear the word in Xanadu.
Brought back memories for you then. I think it's
Also,
fair to
the
say.
opening line to Citizen Kane, one of Orson Welles' most famous,
Yes.
most famous,
Definite most famous
films.
film. Great film as well.
Thank you, Annie.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else sharing with us? Lucy.
Excellent.
I can see post-its inside.
Yeah, so I don't know what exam board is studied here for GCSE, but at my old school we did AQA GCSE.
No, we dumped AQA, I'm afraid.
My school actually changed from Excel to AQA.
Oh.
So yeah,
Cool choice.
yeah. Ooh.
So that one we have done with Year 9 before now, but since we gave AQA up for good, but we haven't this year done that one.
Okay. So it's London by William Blake. So yeah. I wander through each charted street, near where the charted Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet marks of weakness, marks of woe. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every ban, the mind-forged manacles I hear, how the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. But most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlots curse, blast the newborn infant's tear, and blight with plagues the marriage hearse. So I chose this one because at GCSE I became absolutely obsessed with the Romantics and Gothic. And William Blake is a Romantic poet. So a lot of those romantic themes sort of are mentioned here, like the idea of not being controlled, and that's a sort of semantic field throughout, with the idea of being chartered, mind-forged manacles, for example. I think there's a lot you can say about it, like the rhyme scheme, the form and structure, and I think it's really interesting to look at based on like when it was written, the messages that it conveys.
Does it convey a message still today, do you think?
I think in the context of a lot of romantic poetry and literature, they all sort of still carry a message to today's society, and I'd say they're almost quite timeless in a way, because we're never going to live in a society where I don't think we're ever going to live in a society where these don't have some form of relevance.
Like mind-forged manacles and
Yeah.
marks of weakness, marks of woe.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, I mean, I try to be a bit more glass half full.
And put power on establishments as well, so like the screams down the palace walls and everything like that. So when we taught at AQA, did I ever teach AQA here? I can't remember. I did at the old school. But yeah, absolutely commenting on actually, do we give power to wider establishments rather than the individual? And then it brings up that question in today's society, like where do we actually put our thought and our sense of like instrumental and influential power, and where it stems from and how we respond to it as a society as well. And I think it starts to raise all of those questions, which is really quite an interesting poem to think about.
He's an interesting man, wasn't he?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, William Blake. You'll all be familiar with some William Blake poems, definitely. You know, Tiger, Burning Bright, for instance.
I read Tracy Chevalier's book about him.
I haven't.
It's called Burning Bright.
Yeah, we got it here.
Got it.
Yeah, we got it over there.
It's really worth it because it's a really lovely novel about somebody who's quite eccentric. So it's sort of and in the way that Tracy Chevalier does, she makes it sort of interesting to read as well.
I'll look into that.
Yeah, it's just over here if you want to borrow it.
Just over there.
So. All right, thank you, Lucy. Thank you very much. Good stuff. Anyone else? Josie?
Oh.
No,
I
please,
just saw the
please.
hand go up.
Yeah, by all means, you know.
Okay, so
Is it Rossetti?
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Okay.
well, I'm not sure. I like Rossetti's work as mostly as art, but not necessarily her political kind of opinions.
Okay.
But I think my favourite poem that I've like studied with her of hers so far is Passing and Glassing.
Mm-hmm.
So all things that pass are women's looking glass. They show her how her bloom must fade, and she herself be laid with withered roses in the shade, with withered roses and the fallen peach, and lovely out of reach of summer joy that was. All things that pass are women's tiring glass. The faded lavender is sweet, sweet the dead violet, cold and laid by and cared for yet. The dried up violets and dried lavender, still sweet may comfort her, nor need her she cry alas. All things that pass are wisdom's looking glass, being full of hope and fear, and still brimful of good or ill, according to our work and will, for there is nothing new beneath the sun. Our doings have been done, and that will, which shall be was. And so, I think Christina Rossetti, a lot of her poems seem arguably kind of against women's rights with getting the vote, but I think this poem's quite interesting because initially, because there's like somatic feels of this death with withered and deaf and dead and cold, and it seems like quite horrible, but I think like when you actually look at kind of some of the closer context, when it's like dried lavender, like the idea that it seems like women, like, because it's a whole idea of like how women are perceived as aging, as losing their value, but when you think of dried lavender, it has almost more uses once it's dried, like it's used for so many things, and so when you look at it like that, you actually think, well, actually maybe she's actually kind of, although it's not necessarily obvious at the beginning, that she's hinting at maybe women do have value, even more value, the older that they get, and again, like, she changes it from women's looking glass to wisdom's looking glass, so it's almost exactly. Women as they age, they become this kind of wise force. Yeah. I thought it was very interesting.
Absolutely.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? Various people have got various.
Samira, go on, yep.
So, I have a Russian poem which is usually learned a lot in schools.
Yeah.
So, usually always learned in about year 4, I would say.
Okay.
And I'm not sure the translation which I found is very accurate because I rarely find anything accurate.
You want to read it to us in Russian?
I
can, but you won't understand it.
No, but we could have the Russian first, and then
Yeah, I can. I
Would that
just
be all right?
need to quickly find
Seems
it.
a shame not to have something. Goes with last week's theme anyway. So
Yes, exactly. Literature and translation,
Yeah.
right? So
literature and translation.
yeah, that was, it's on YouTube. So if you,
Yeah, I'll
if you
catch
wanna-
up. I'll catch up.
We're on YouTube, by the way, everybody. We're going back into the far reaches of time now.
Are you telling the people watching on YouTube?
Well,
Yeah.
we do sometimes. We do occasionally talk to the camera.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
called Meta.
Yeah,
Meta
I like it. Yeah, you're breaking that fourth wall. Very good. Sorry.
You ready, Samira?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just because people usually when they talk in Russian, they hate it because it sounds very weird, especially native English speakers.
Well, it's because we don't hear it very often.
True.
It's good for us to hear another language.
I agree.
It'll
I agree.
stretch and challenge our brains,
Yeah,
won't
we'll,
it?
we'll have to
Yes.
concentrate a bit. Yes, yes. When you're ready.
У лукоморья дуб зеленый, золотая цепь над дубетом, и днем, и ночью кот ученый, все ходит под цепи кругом. Идет направо, песню заводит, налево сказку говорит, там чудеса, там леший броет, русалка на ветвях сидит, да на невидимых дорожках следы невиденных зверей, избушка там на курьих ножках стоит без окон, без дверей, там лес и до видения полное, там озари прихлынут волны. На берег песчаный и пустой, и 30 витязей прекрасных чередой из воды выходят ясных, и с ними дядька их морской. Там королевич мимоходом пленяет грозного царя. Там в облаках перед народом через леса, через моря колдун несет богатыря. Темница там царевна тужит, а бурый волк ей верно служит. Там ступа с бабой Егой идет, бредет сама с собой. Там царь Кощей на златом чахнет, там русский дух, там Русью пахнет. И там я был, и мед я пил, и у моря видел дуб зеленый, под ним сидел и кот ученый, своим мне сказку говорил.
Wow.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
You can hear the rhyme.
Yeah, definitely. You got a question?
You can hear all the iambic pentameter and all the things because it's in the language it's written in. You can hear all the rhyming and
Yes,
stuff.
you
Rhythm,
can.
yeah.
Yes,
And all the
absolutely.
iambic pentameter and everything.
Yes,
It's
which is
really
why
cool.
I think it's so essential. So,
Can I have it in English? Yeah.
yes.
Okay. A mighty oak stands by the shoreline, a golden chain nailed to its bark, and on that chain a wise old felon walks back and forth along an arc. On turning right it spins a ballad, on turning left a fairy tale. There's magic there, a wondrous palette, a mermaid beckons with her tail. Shows you can see I cannot walk on hide traces of forgotten beasts, hot with chicken feet to stand and prepares the children for a feast. Nearby woods are full of frights, and in the morning with the tide, sandy and abandoned beach will welcome 30 handsome knights, and each one ready for a fight, their uncle lasts unto the breach. A minor prince questing for glory enslaves a formidable Tsar, and in the clouds you've heard the story of wizards coming from afar, and in his arms a warrior. Princess in the dungeon grim, her dire wolves obeys each whim. A mortal holding Baba Yaga, in wandering in its own saga. A dragon king pines for his god. There's Russian spirit there of old. I've been there, and I drank their mead, and saw the green oak by the shore. Sat underneath it, and the cat told me his tales of nevermore.
Oh,
Wow.
well, there's some things that we would be familiar with there,
Yeah.
because there's lots of fairy tale, and
Yeah.
then there's Baba Yaga,
Yeah.
who I know about, and
Do you
lots
guys
of-
know about Baba?
We
Yeah,
know
they're
Baba Yaga,
nodding.
yeah.
Yes.
The house with the chicken
House
leg.
with
Yes, the
Chicken
chicken legs is
yeah.
based on it. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the last bear book.
yes,
That's right.
Yes, that's
Absolutely.
right, yeah, yeah.
So this poem, one of your favourites? Would you say?
It's just that me and my dad, when I was 8, we used to learn it in the bus. That probably
Okay.
was one of the first poems which I ever read.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, it's great.
So yeah.
But you don't
I
think
can
it's a
see
good
why.
translation?
no, I found a better translation, but I forgot the paper piece at
Oh.
home. So, it's not, for example, in the first line and on the chain of wise old fan, it's not supposed to be that. It's supposed to be about the cat at the end.
Right.
But they translated it incorrectly, so
It's about choices, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Tough to say.
the first time I told my parents they want to do it, they told me it's more like a story
Yeah.
than a poem.
Mm.
And especially from my parents, they learned it at school.
Mm-hmm. So it's got
Yeah.
that sort of memory as well. Then.
Yeah, you learn it a lot at school.
Yeah.
So, because in literature in Russia, where I'm from, Kazakhstan, you learn a poem, then you write an essay for it, and then you tell the class about it. You learn it, you repeat it. So they don't really do any tasks like in England.
like you used to hear.
Yeah.
When I was at school, we used to have to learn poems. We didn't write essays about them until we got to GCSE. So things are slightly different now. But there is a competition called Poetry by Heart, which actually we've never got around to entering, where people do learn poetry and then recite it on the stage of the Globe. Funnily enough, so it's but it's important, isn't it, to have poems in your head?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
And especially there is another bit in here which is incorrect. So when it talks about in this bit it says a minor prince question for glory and saves a former the Tsar. First of all, that's incorrect translation. Second of all, it's so there's another story in Russia. So it's about, I'm not sure, maybe someone knows this, Tsar Koshchei. It's a Russian story. I don't know a lot about it, but it's supposed to be about that, but it's incorrect here, which is a bit annoying because it's one of the most important bits.
Oh.
Never mind. We appreciated it.
Yes,
anyway.
yeah, thank
really
you.
Nice allusions there.
Absolutely, yes. Brilliant, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Eleanor? No? Okay. Holly? Is Holly still here?
Yeah, she's
No?
shaking her head
Okay.
there.
Anybody else? Yeah?
Oh, yes? No? Up to you.
I mean, I got a pen, but I don't really know anything about it.
That's
Doesn't
okay,
matter.
that's fine.
Doesn't matter.
It's not
If
a
you
problem
like
at all.
That's fine.
We'll try and
Come
work it
along.
out together.
Yeah, it'd be a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
So. Oh, you got it from this book. Shout out to Hannah's mum.
Yes.
She's not here.
One of our parents put it together.
Yeah.
Shall I read it?
By all means.
All the words that I stutter and all the words that I write must spread out their wings, untiring, and never rest in their flight, till they come where your sad, sad heart is, and sing to you in the night, beyond where the waters are moving, storm darkened or starry bright.
Great.
Lovely.
Well done.
And what's it called?
Where my books
Where
go.
My Books Go. And who's it by?
It's by W.B. Yeats.
Oh, it's by Yeats.
Yeah.
Right.
Got him
Very
right here in front of
famous.
me.
Very
Incidentally.
famous Irish poet. Yeah.
What do you reckon, Millie? Especially that first bit with the words taking flight. What do you reckon that means?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that. Maybe it's like that. Whatever he says, it won't go away. It will always stay at least somewhere. Like whoever he tells or something.
Yeah, words are permanent.
Yeah.
As soon as they're written, they're out there, and they've taken their journey, and they're having their own influence on the world potentially. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Good choice. Excellent. There you go.
Okay. I think you're up next.
Is it, I might just stay if that's right. Yeah. Right, I'm going to read two, if I may. One that I've written myself. It took me a bit longer than 3 minutes, but not overly long. And then I'm going to read one that I got from the Poetry Foundation website. There's actually up on the magnetic board if you want to have a look at it on your way out.
Yeah, good selection on the magnetic board, guys.
Yeah, I thought so. All right, so this is my one, and in keeping with the theme of National Poetry Day, it's called How You Count. It could be to check the metre of your poem, the iambic metre, the Petrarchan sonnet, the haiku syllables. It could be the word count of your essay, or the pages read in your book, the integers in maths homework. Or maybe it's the sweets in the jar, the days left until Christmas, or your next school holiday, or the seconds till the microwave pings. Perhaps it's even the ways that Browning loves thee, the title of Dracula, the Avenger of Monte Cristo. But I would also say it's someone knowing that they can rely on you. It's making your voice heard. It's standing up for a cause. Because no matter what you may think, no matter what anyone else says, no matter what period, you matter and you count. That's my one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm not going to give any preamble to this one. This is called I Don't Like Poetry by Joshua Siegel. I don't like similes. Every time I try to think of one, my brain feels like a vast, empty desert. My eyes feel like raisins floating in an ocean. My fingers feel like sweaty sausages. I don't like metaphors. Whenever I attempt them, a hammer starts beating in my chest. Lava starts bubbling in my veins. Zombies have a fight in my stomach. I don't like alliteration. We learn about it in school, but it's seriously, stupendously silly. Definitely drastically difficult. Terribly, troublingly tricky. I don't like onomatopoeia. I wish I could blow it up with a zap and a bang and a crash, a boom and a clang and a pow, a clash and a bam and a thud. And I don't like repetition. I don't like repetition. I don't like repetition.
Oh, very,
Thank you.
Very funny. Very funny.
Yeah, that's great.
Excellent.
So, what do we want to do with... We haven't got time. No, we don't do it. It's nearly 5 o'clock.
Sadly, no more
Sadly.
time, because everybody had a lovely poem and talked
Yeah.
about them at length, which was great. So
Yeah.
thank you very much.
So thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.
So that's it for today, I'm afraid. Next week,
Next week, it's the Booker Prize.
it's the book prize.
So, yeah.
So our discussions and the shortlist.
Absolutely. Hopefully the book's
Lovely
all
to
right.
see everybody. Thank you very
Yes, thanks
much.
everyone, and bye everyone at home.
everyone.
Bye. Bye.